Well, I'm about ready to go to bed for tonight, but I was just thinking about something. So, with all the outrage that's going on right now regarding BP and everything else, and everything that we're hearing in our mainstream news, I find it kind of curious that everything that happened in Haiti, and this was just 5 months ago, has basically completely disappeared from the radar screen for everyone, not just me. So you have to kind of do a double take on this, because this was a major disaster. And now we're seeing a disaster of equal or perhaps worse proportions in the Gulf of Mexico. So, you can't help but think, what's going to happen when the major networks decide that that kind of thing doesn't deserve any more coverage anymore either, if it keeps going and going and going? If it becomes essentially too boring to cover, because it's an ongoing problem, because it's not going to be solved easily or quickly. So maybe those people who live in those regions are going to be forgotten, just like the people in Haiti. And so I came across an article, and I want to share some of these sentiments with you, just so you know that things will continue, whether they're out of sight or out of mind or not. So here it goes. If one looks close to the ground in certain refugee camps and community organizations, one can see the donations of citizens and non-profits at work, supplying tents, foods, and medical aid. A handful of foundations are funding community, peasant, and advocacy organizations as they work for an alternative rebuilding process. Sorry. I hate solicitor phone calls. Alternative rebuilding process based on economic justice and the fulfillment of people's needs. Yet for the most part, and this is June of 2010, the impact of the dollars is imperceptible. So where is it going? Much of the aid pledged has not yet even arrived, and may never. A lot of it has gone straight back to the donors, as with the 40 cents on the dollar on every U.S. government aid dollar that paid for the U.S. military presence in that country. Then, of course, you have many UN consultants, for example, who slept until mid-March in a luxury cruise ship, basically the Love Boat, which the United Nations rented for them. Then, of course, there's graft, corruption, poor planning, and all of that. And it doesn't seem to be reaching the people who really need the help in Haiti. And I remind you, this is 5 months later. Here's some of what they had to say, the people who are actually living there. We don't need more than social support. We need collaboration with all foreign citizens who want to help us Haitians, and who want to give their support. We don't need money coming into the country to create these huge projects to bring change. No, when that money comes, the population itself doesn't even receive it. It doesn't even get to the community. Here's another testimony. The people want another system so that they can be treated as citizens in a country that belongs to them. They want their rights as human beings and to be respected. But with all this aid and all these programs coming in, they're treating people like children. It's not possible. Who knows better than the people? They want to make decisions for themselves, and they don't want anyone to make those decisions for them. What plan does the country have 5 months after this earthquake? People can't sit in the mud in these camps all day. They can't live like this. Now they're kicking people out of these camps to send them to other tents and to other camps without any water or any shade. There are no changes. The government is totally irresponsible. What makes me most angry is to see people sitting under the hot sun to get half a sack of rice and a bottle of oil. Where are they going to cook the food? They don't even have a stove to cook the food with, and they can't eat the rice and oil only. People are sleeping to this day in the mud. They're sleeping in garbage. When it rains, they don't have anywhere to sleep. I think that the most important thing now is some sort of public housing, real housing. Americans and everyone who sent the tents, we're tired of this stuff and those same tents and tarps. We just move from camp to camp. We need construction. You see how strong the rains are becoming? The tents can't withstand that rain. How long can the people live in tents and under tarps? You can't live like this for 3 or 4 years. We need houses. We're going to have hurricanes soon and flooding. So those are just some of the remarks from actual Haitians who live there. Just wanted to remind you of that because the people in the Gulf will be equally forgotten if we don't keep these things in the forefront. Because it isn't just us. The major corporate conglomerates who control the economy of this globe don't give a shit about people. That's the bottom line. And until we speak up and keep speaking up and cause a ruckus, nothing is going to change.